Well, hello, traders and investors. I'm L.A. Little, and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets, doing it from a neoclassical perspective, each time asking ourselves what happened today, what might it tell us about the coming ones. Do this show 4 times a week, every Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast every before 10 o'clock Eastern Time, archived on YouTube. It's under the channel L.A. Little. If you haven't subscribed and you want to, just reach up in the right-hand corner and do so. Anytime I push some content, you'll get that notification. I'll let you know what's going on, at least what I think is going on. As far as what's happening, it was another green day pretty much across the board here. S&P, NASDAQ, NDX. We had, of course, Facebook earnings last night after the bell. They pushed higher, and Apple's still doing all right after its push higher the night before, so you got 6% bumps. Now, Facebook gave up quite a bit of what it had today. Then you had, after the bell today, you had the Amazon number, which I couldn't remember last night, and Google. And both of those up 4.5%, 5%. So you're getting the moves in technology that keeps this thing hanging. Now the NDX is moving up, wants to try to hit the all-time highs. We'll look at that here in a second. As far as the rest of the world coming down, now last night, if you remember, I said, we're starting to set the table here for a pullback. And that table, looks to me pretty clean in that that's what it's doing. And what I mean by that is we're seeing the market set up, not trades, but set up test, extensions, projections, and test. And it's going to those, testing into those, and doing exactly what it should do. And we haven't seen that in a while. We've seen it come up, get a test, and it just keeps going higher. Now we've been up here so long, we're starting to see some of those tests actually work. For example, German DAX last night told us it should try to trade higher, try to trade lower. That's what it did. Same thing on the Swiss market, and the Swiss market came off pretty hard. If we look elsewhere, we had the same sort of setups, almost all of them. The SOX was another one we talked about last night, also pulled back. So we're getting those setups. The setups are doing what they're supposed to. What that does is give you the confidence that the reads are right, that you're seeing what the market's telling you and interpreting it correctly, and it allows you to continue to gain the confidence that you need to make the continuing trades that you're trying to make based on what the market's saying. So anyway, point is, we're up on the domestic. It's mainly the NASDAQ NDX that's driving it, keeping us up here. We had bonds try to flip around. They were down a little bit heavier this morning. Gold also gave up a little bit, but flipped around towards the end of the day. And so, in general, the worst you can say about this market is that it's a pretty darn good market. I mean, this thing is not giving much of anything away. And one of the things you got to do is make money when the market's allowing you. And, this is the public portfolio that members see in terms of the percentage gains. This thing's up almost 7% on the year, a very safe portfolio. I think we're spread in about 8 or 9 different trades is all. We keep working those. We've got, I think about 70% of the money at work right now. And we're doing it very safely. And you can see they just climb just like the market has, but we're slightly outperforming the markets and definitely outperforming the NASDAQ. If you want to be part of that, just come to the Get Started button, click it. You can get in on all the details I give members each and every day, also the weekend broadcast, keep them informed as to what's going on, as well as give them picks and teach them how to trade. If you want to learn how to trade, this is a great time to get started, so just hit the button. I will be doing another crash course on Neoclassic for members that are joining now. So if you want to be part of that, just go ahead and join up, and we'll be doing that before too much longer. And new members that have joined just recently also will be able to take part in that. So let me turn to the charts, and let's see what we got here. So if I strip this away, look at the S&P 500. What are we doing? Hanging. We've been hanging for 2 weeks, and it's a tight range, right? We're talking 10 points. I mean, it's nothing, right? That type of a range says you're going to get a larger move one way or the other. Before long, people like to say, "Oh, it's going to do this right away," or "It's going to do this," they try to give you a number. Until you get some clear evidence that something's happening, it's a range, and you can't tell just because how long it's gone when it's going to break. The longer it goes, yeah, sure, there's a higher probability it's going to break at some point. But, right now it's just in the range, not doing anything, just sitting there. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, if you pull over the weekly and take a look at it, it's not a bad thing at all because, what this thing is doing is it's digesting this huge move it just had. So you get up there, you hang for 2 weeks or third week now, and you're just kind of like sitting there, right? You're over the swing point highs. You break over them. You're trying to stay over them more than 6 bars, which gives you a much higher probability for this thing to continue if and when it does retrace. And that's what you're always looking for. As far as the other indexes, as I said, the index that's carrying this right now is the NDX itself. New high, holds up there. What is it doing? It's going after these highs, and these are the all-time highs up here, 47.39, and we closed about 15 under it today, so 18 points it looks like. Tomorrow it's going to try to tag it. Still wants to tag it. You get that close, you want to tag it, and that's what it's doing. If you look elsewhere, I don't see much else happening. Here's the Russell. I tried to push along with the NASDAQ yesterday. Today couldn't. Inside bar doesn't tell you a thing. What did tell us something is those things we were looking at and asking ourselves, okay, would they do what they should do? For example, last night I was talking about the SOXX. It should pull back. That's what it did. A little doji, didn't give you much, but it did pull back. It's a freebie bar. When you see an over-under, it's extended. That's a 2-bar reversal. Next bar has a high probability going sideways, at least, usually down. And so that setup was there. But if you look elsewhere, you've still got some real positives out here. Look at discretionary, right? Nothing wrong with the way this is behaving. Breaks out, more than 6 bars, hanging in a tight range. The financials doing the same thing. You're getting a pullback in a few of these, energy in particular. But look at the technology, right? Looks just like the NDX with one small difference, and that is you got an over-under today. So I would be interested tomorrow to see whether or not Amazon and Google can hold those gains, and will those gains spread to anybody else. If you start seeing reversals in these things that get the nice pops the night before, after hours, then something might be going on, and you're going to want to be paying attention to that. As far as central bankers, yesterday we got the Fed. The Fed basically kind of tightened up their language, left the door open to a September rate rise. Market kind of totally discounted it, though. Tonight, though, you got the Nikkei and the Bank of Japan. Bank of Japan expectations are for easing now and big. If they don't deliver that tonight, you're going to see the yen rise. If they do deliver, you're going to want to watch and see if the yen can rise. Do they have confidence in the central bankers anymore? Japan is the most basket of the basket cases that are out there. And so I'm really curious to see how it reacts to the expected easing as of tonight. Got another viewer request. Last night we took one. Tonight we're going to do another one. Last night was an all stock. Tonight we're looking at a Newmont, a gold stock. And the question is, on a weekly time frame, how does this one look? So let's stack it up and run through it real quick. Give you a quick tutorial on how the neoclassical works as we do these, which is always kind of nice. So this thing has had a great run, right? You could look at this many different ways. You could do ABCD structures. You could look at ranges as well. I can kind of see a range here, and then if I go and double that range, and let me grab it and double it, then you can see, you can actually start to see how this thing falls out. So let's double it. Let's move it. Let's stack it on top of that one, double that one, move it, stack it on top of that one, and you can see these ranges, how they kind of stack up, right, one after another, and what's it doing is breaking out. What's that mean? That means it's going to try to double it again, right? And so you can take that range here on the daily chart and say, what a beautiful chart, right? Push up, and pushed up back here in February, push up, consolidate, push up, consolidate, right? That's the perfect kind of move that you want. If you draw a line and you go all the way back, right, and draw it through there, that's pretty much a 45-degree angle. That's as good as it gets, right? Those kinds of moves can just keep going. And so far this one has, if you look at it on that weekly, which was the time frame that the question was about. How does that one look? Well, you actually have the ranges here as well, and you can do the same sort of thing here, and you can double those up too. So if we take this one and double it quickly, actually let me get rid of that one. Let's do this one again. Control C, there we go, and stack it on top. Let's see what these look like. And I haven't done this, so we're kind of doing this live. We'll see how it works out. And by golly, it's about the same thing, right? Now this one's a little different in that if it gets up there, it's only got a target up around 44, it looks like. Okay, so if we have a 44 target here, you know, I mean, we already know the stock's looking good, so let's see if we can make sense of that target in another way. For example, let's do ABCD structures. And if we do that, and I'm looking here, I can see one here, right? It gets to this price point, the very next bar, you get a lower low, lower high. That gets you a pullback, right? And then you project that one up. And so if we take that same bar and we just double it, right, we can see what that projection looks like. And that actually has just met, right? So the 42.5 area is about where it wanted to go. Inside that, we've actually got some other ABCD structures that are starting to take place. Looks like either these or that. They're about the same, so I'll just use this one. And we got lower low, lower high here. There's the B point. Project that one. Actually, let's actually just project that one, and I'll just use this and project here. Sorry, it's not quite as clean because I kind of messed up here, but we'll pull that one back in so it's not confusing. And so if we project that, where does that go to? 44. It's about what we had on the other one. So it looks to me like about 44 is the target. So if I'm trying to buy this, I'm not sure I want to buy it right now. I probably want to try to catch something. And if I bring over the monthly and take a look at that one, right, to just see how that time frames. You're always watching 3 time frames. You can't just watch 1 or 2. You got to watch them all. And so if we look at the monthly here, you actually are coming into this big bar. You're at the top of it right now. Month ends tomorrow. So if it can hold over this, you'll get another break. That's a swing point high. It happens to be a breakdown bar as well. Doesn't look like you'll have the volume. You'll get a suspect breakout over it. It's already bullish, so it would be just a reaffirmation of it. But look at what you're coming into. You're coming into all these lows, right? This whole lot of congestion area right here. I think that's going to be kind of hard to get over. And again, we're in that 44 area. And so it looks to me like the trade just isn't here right now on Newmont. I probably would let it try to come back in, just like you probably should try to let the market come back in, because right now this market is pretty stretched. Guess we'll leave that one here. So that's the way that looks. As far as where do we go from here? It looks to me like the setup continues to give us some 2-bar reversals, some overs and unders. And with that, even though the indexes are still holding at these highs, with that, just like I made the case last night, I think today gave us some confidence in that case, and that is that we are going to get a pullback. And it's within reason that it's going to happen pretty soon. So I don't know about you. This is not the point to be buying, in my opinion. This is the point to be picking out what you want to buy. And when that market does start to pull back down, you look at those things that have been strong. You see if they act well. If they come to key areas, significance, and the buyers dry up, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good clue that that's a good place to make some more purchases. Otherwise, you just keep riding this thing like we've been doing, and you let your performance tell the story. I'm LA. This is and was your daily NeoTA wrap. I will be off tomorrow, and I'll be back on the weekly one on Sunday. Join me then if you don't join me sooner. And how do you do that? Well, you just come over to the site, pop in there, hit the Get Started button. Have a great one. Good night.